You are listening to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss our RC adventures.
Welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss the ups and downs of the new RC Flyer. Join your hosts, Michael and Jay, as they take flight at the park. Now on with the show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Park Flyer Podcast. I'm Jay from the hills of Texas, and with me, as always, is my good buddy.
I'm AK Mike in Texas.
Yeah, that's right, AK Mike in Texas, but we're missing AZ Mike in Texas. What gives?
Well, he's not even in Texas, so we're missing him completely. Besides that,
unfortunately, he got a little bit of relief from when he got COVID and had a little bit of time off, and now they're taking back that time with a vengeance. So he thought he was off until the end of the month. And they called him up after training after like 2 days or 1 or 2 days. And they were like, hey, we need you to do XXX. We got to get 24 hours out of you. So he's doing a whirlwind flying around the country and flying overseas and coming back and everything in between. So unfortunately, he had to take off before he got back. So, yeah. But it's hard to believe it's only been, 2 weeks, since I last talked to you. And, you got a chance to go to the Holly Springs event, and from what little talking that I had with you during that time, it sounded like you had a good time.
I did. I had a really good time. I met up there with Doug in the morning, and we'll talk a little bit about that as we go through this podcast because that's what we're here for. And so we hung out, had a good time, and it was good. It was good fun.
All right. Well, before we get into it, let's go for a quick commercial break, and I'll have a couple questions for you.
"3D Aeroventures, adding fun to the RC hobby, one layer at a time."
Feeling weak and powerless? Sounds to me like you need A-Power batteries. When someone needs the best, they always choose the A-Team. A-Power batteries. Get on the web and get yours today. Thanks, we're back. All right, Mike, like I said, you kind of combined this as a work thing for us, a vacation thing, a girlfriend thing. You're winning all the way around.
I think that was pretty much just it was really a vacation thing with Joelle, and then just a podcast thing for us.
Yeah.
And so because my brother lives there and my father doesn't live too far away, I get to turn these events into a little bit of a trip and go visit the both of them, and I got to do that. So it was a lot of fun. We went after the Hollyfest. We went to golfing at Pinehurst. That was fun. And then after that, we went to my dad's and get on a hot air balloon.
I've never done that.
Fun.
I've never done that.
Oh no?
No. Yeah, I lived in New Mexico for years.
I hadn't either, really, but
yeah.
But it was really kind of cool because I fly paramotor. That's fun, and I kind of understand hit landing. It's got to be a slopey thing. In the balloon, I assumed it was going to be a little more up and down, and it's not. It's a little bit of a slopey thing too, and so you're obviously your descent's a little bit slower because you don't come crashing down like I sort of do when I'm flying my paramotor. But she grazed the top of the trees before we landed in the field, and I think that was partly for us, just for fun,
right,
but also partly to slow the rig down, right? So that it wasn't traveling at some high rate of speed as we got into this field. It was a couple acre field, but still small for balloons perspective, because you do float to some level, and you have to float, otherwise you will smash into the ground, and that's a bad thing for everybody.
That's a bad ending to a good day.
But it was kind of interesting. You don't just land once. You hit the ground, and then you pick up again, and then you hit the ground again, and then you pick up again, and then you hit the ground again. And luckily for us, the grass was really tall in the field we were in. It was probably 2 feet maybe, and so we were able to really drag more than we had to touch the ground at all.
Nice.
And so that was kind of cool. Yeah, it was fun. We had a good
All
time.
right. Well, like I said, I'm glad.
My dad went with me, and so that was kind of a neat thing for him, too.
Very good, very good.
He's 88, and so he got to get his first ride in a balloon ride, too.
Well, and you picked the right ride, right? So, I would think that a balloon ride, nobody's going to go, my gosh, you took your 88-year-old dad up in a precision aerobatic plane. People might frown upon that, but a balloon ride,
yeah, maybe.
That's okay.
I think he would frown upon that. I don't think.
Well, I'm sure, right?
If Mike offered him a ride, I think he'd go hard pass on that.
All right, so I'm sure our listeners want to hear what all happened at Hollyfest. So, did you rained out? Beautiful weather? Hot, cold?
It was actually the best weather ever. I guess a strong storm came through just before the week before, and it left in its wake a very nice day. Let's go ahead and we'll sit down with Doug and hear what he has to say about the beginning of the day, and then we'll go from there.
Oh, okay. Sounds great.
Okay. Well, good morning, Doug. Going to get ready to get started with the fun fly here, and all kinds of activity already going on this early.
Yeah, we always have a lot of folks show up to volunteer to help set up. And this year, since we weren't able to hold this event in 2020, we're just anxious to get it underway.
Yeah. So it looks good. It looks the same as I remember 2 years ago.
We tried to use the same template, so that's good. We tried a new layout 2 years ago and liked it and tweaked it a bit. Tweaked it on the fly. If you look closely, you'll see a couple extra flight lines that we painted one a little too close and painted another one. So not to confuse folks, but
that must be why I lost my plane earlier. I was confused by the flight line. That's got to be it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That was the first flight of the day too. So.
Yeah, well, what do you do?
You were breaking us all in.
I think I was the first flyer. I think Ryan flew before me, but it wasn't much before me.
So you're reminding me that you're in the running for that Hard Luck Award.
Someone mentioned that earlier.
Park Flyer, there's a precedent there that you guys might own that thing. So we'll see what happens the rest of the day.
Well, somebody mentioned that, and my answer to that is it can't be me because there's no plane to show that it actually got damaged.
We can't even prove that you flew it because
that's true. Other than it's not physically here anymore.
Yeah, I can't say I heard something that sounded like a plane going through trees.
It did sound like that, but it could have made it completely clean out of the trees, as far as I know.
It might be on the other side of those trees and in someone's backyard.
Could be
on a 3-point landing. You stuck it in the
no, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So while I understand how I might deserve that award, I don't know that it would be fair to give it to me.
Let's just understand: this is not the fundraiser that flew 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, it's the same one.
Well, okay, so now we have to suspect that maybe this plane is cursed, like it likes to be hurt all the time, or maybe it's just a special thing when it comes to North Carolina.
Well, in my case,
here's different than Texas.
In my case, I was flying it just fine, thank you, until I got locked out.
Climb out.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
A perfect rolled upright flight.
We definitely.
I did see that part.
Yeah, and so from that perspective, I feel like I met the bar of flying well, and that the plane itself proved itself. That it wasn't just here, but I did get a lockout, and I couldn't use the controls anymore. There's nothing I could do. I tried to fly it all the way to the ground. It didn't help. So I owe you a battery.
Well, there you go. It's all fine. You're all good.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to the day, and can't wait for things to start and get going and have a good time.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
All right, we're back. Well, man, that Doug kind of laid it out there. So, everything seems like it worked out.
Yeah. So as the start of the day was a great start. Things are coming together. I think this is their third one. I think, and he was saying that he felt better that they had a process now that was something they could work and fine tune better. Whereas before he felt a little less. It was a little more jankety, and in terms of
technical
things
term,
being in the right place at the right time. Yeah. So yeah, that was good. And I got a chance to fly the Fun Racer one more time at the Hollyfest, much to its demise.
Yeah, sorry to hear it.
Yeah.
So tell us the story.
Well, what we're going to do here is we're going to listen to a little bit of it from the guy who helped me toss it. So let's talk to him real quick, and then we'll come back and talk a little more.
All right, sounds good.
So, Ryan, I just wanted to say thanks this morning for you. You're spotting for me, and I really appreciate that. I needed it because I got disconnected from my plane and lost it into the trees.
We tried to spot it out there in the trees, but after some looking, no luck finding it today.
Yeah, I mean that's
surprise in the woods for somebody another day.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that is what I have said. Is that people are like, "Did you find your plane?" No, but if you find it, it's yours. They're like, "Really?" Like, yeah, you can, and give the battery back to Doug. That was.
You were flying Doug's battery.
Oh yeah. I didn't bring any batteries with me because I didn't want to hassle with TSA and all that kind of stuff. Okay. He said, I got some batteries, and I was like, okay, great. So I put one in and promptly lost it for him.
So you told him when he finds it in the woods, he can have it back.
Yes.
And the winner also earns a bottle of Gorilla Glue or some foam tack to put the plane back together.
Right.
And they've got a perfectly good flyer ready to go.
It depends on how many pieces it is found. We find it in, or they find it in, because
you need to start a poll. How many pieces is it in? Because it made some noise when it went into those trees.
It sure did. It sure did. We could hear it all the way over here. That's the amazing part. It was loud enough for us to hear it, and very clear. Either it broke branches or it fell apart. One of the two.
I'm guessing it lost against the branches.
You think so? Okay.
I don't know. It made some noise for a long time. It wasn't a gentle. It's not in the top of the canopy. Wherever it is, somebody will not need to climb very high for it. I don't think. It was flying beautifully before.
It really was.
We had a good hand launch. We had a good flight, and all of a sudden, who knows what happened.
I think that's probably one of the funniest things about it. You and I were both nervous about the launch. I haven't flown it in a while, and you had never launched one of those before, so we were both pretty nervous. And I think somebody had just prior to that said, "Oh yeah, wasn't this the plane that nosed in 2 years ago?" I was like, "This is the very plane."
This is it.
And so we were both a little bit, at least I was on edge for flying it. And you were like, "Yeah, I'll just throw it."
And I've done a lot of hand launches, but I've never hand launched upside down. I wasn't sure how to think that was going to go.
It
was
beautiful.
It
really was. It was a nice up angle, and the plane rolled nicely, and we flew around a couple times. Because when I ship it has to be adjusted every time, first flight. And so I had to adjust the elevator a little bit. But once I got that dialed in, it was doing good. And then, I don't know what happened.
It's hard to find a good plane to travel with. I haven't ever tried flying with one for that reason.
Yeah.
But
interestingly, it's a glider plane, the Phoenix 2000. That actually fits really nicely in my golf bag.
Okay.
I have a hard case.
I saw the golf bag.
Yeah, I have a hard case golf bag.
Who's going to practice their golf swing out here today? But in reality, I had a plane in there.
It's really funny because you put the planes in there. I can carry 4 planes in there, as long as they have detachable wings and detachable tail pieces.
Right.
So I would carry my Walrus, that Fun Jet, a couple others, one other, and I've done that a couple times when I go to AEF in the winter. Yep, and so I guess I'll be going with one less plane to AEF.
Yeah.
But
so you didn't have others in the case today? You brought the whole
Oh
case?
No, I just brought the Fun Racer. I didn't really, this isn't really flying. I would bring the Walrus because we used to do night flies. I don't know if we can do that anymore, but we used to do night flies, so I'd bring the Walrus because it's a night Walrus, and we could turn the lights on and fly around at night. It's a lot of fun. So we went looking for it, and I didn't get any poison ivy or poison oak forest, I know, yet.
No
so
signs of that.
That was good. Walking out in the woods in your shorts, that's not the best of ideas. But
I guess nobody was on the walking path back there. They probably would have heard that thing come in and been standing there pointing at it.
They probably would have gave me an earful.
Nice, right?
That would have given me an earful. So, I don't know. Well, again, I just want to say thanks so much for taking the time to help me out and trying to locate that thing. Oh, it'll be good to find out how many pieces and who finds it.
Yeah, we'll see. The park people here are good. We get planes back from time to time.
In fact, if you recognize that somebody found it or whatever, let's get them. We'll interview them. Okay, right, that'd be good. Yeah, thanks. Talk to you later.
All right. Well, so how do you feel? I mean, that plane has gotten through a lot. I mean, the last time we were both at Holly Spring, I was the one that did terrible damage to it. It's kind of had some ups and downs. You brought it down to my house a couple of times, and we've kind of put some dinks in it and repaired it.
We flew it at in Phoenix.
That's right.
At AEF.
You know, in fact, I don't think did it get any damage at AEF, or I can't remember.
Yeah, it did. It did, and then Mike had to find me a spinner. I think.
The spinner. That's right.
Something was wrong with my spinner. Not my spinner, but the prop thing was wobbling or something. Anyway, so Mike gave me a spinner, and we flew it a couple times there, and that was all well and good. But we both thought, when he tossed it, weren't sure because all the memories in our head was, of course, when you flew it the last time, which was it went up and it went down.
Right.
And so we were both pretty nervous about that. I hadn't been flying it in a little while. I've been doing mostly paramotor stuff, so I haven't flown it in a little while. And that plane always makes me nervous when I fly it.
Right.
But we tossed it, and it was a beautiful launch. I mean, did just exactly what it's supposed to do. 45-degree upside down, right up into the air, nice rotation into a flat flying, and it was beautiful. I flew that thing for 3 or 4 minutes, and at one point in the flight, it got lockout.
Wow!
So I lost control.
And
then of course that was flying away from me at the time.
And you had a DSMX receiver, right? Or did you have a DSM2?
DSMX? No, it was a Lemon. It was a Lemon receiver with a gyroscope.
Gotcha.
And so that was using the DSMX connectivity. But I just got a lockout, and maybe it was my radio. It's unclear what caused the lockout.
Right.
They do have a cell tower nearby there, so I know that was hitting. That can hit people. But maybe it was a loose antenna and I didn't screw down. Who knows? I don't know exactly what caused the lockout. There's no way to know. And because we didn't find it, no way to do it.
I mean, that plane is the brightest, most colorful thing on the planet. How could you not fly in that fluorescent beauty?
Well, about that, when it hit those trees, it smacked them really hard. I mean, really hard. So much so that we could hear it hit multiple trees on the way down.
Oh my!
From where we were, which is far away. If you've ever been at that field, you know how far away that is. And we heard it, so we went looking for it, but it just couldn't. It's going to be. Here's the deal. Anybody who's out there in the winter finds that plane, you can have it. It's yours. You can have the.
You can have the parts.
You can have the receiver. You can have any parts that you find that work. It's yours. Yours to keep. Don't even have to tell me. But actually, I would like to know the story. Like, where did you find it? How many pieces was it? Maybe a picture if you find it. But it was pretty much gone. Pretty much gone.
Was that the only plane you brought out with you, or?
Yeah, that was the only plane I brought. I did. I could have brought my FPV, but they were doing the drone races and stuff again. So that means I would interfere with their stuff. So I wouldn't be able to fly my plane. And then I didn't really feel like bringing anything else because most of the other things that fit in that carrier are my gliders, and so I didn't want to keep bringing a glider out because I like to fly those for a while when I take them up there, but people don't like that you're hogging the space.
Yeah, you've been there for half an hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I chose not to bring it. But other than that, we had a good time and a lot of fun, and so. Yeah, it was kind of a bummer, but the guy's like, you don't even seem upset. It's like, yeah, once I threw it in the air and once I knew it was going down, it's like, well, all right, I guess it's going down.
Right.
And I think I was down to about $1 per flight on that plane. We talk about that, when you buy a plane. First flight out is $200.
Why don't you explain that to our listeners because they may not understand quite what you're talking about.
Well, okay, you buy a $200 plane, the first flight out, it's $200. Next flight out, it's only $100. So you work your way down. And I think that plane had seen enough time in the air and we've had enough fun with it and it had enough crashes and recoveries that I think it had done. It's met its maker in terms of the fun. We had plenty of fun. We squoze the fun out of it as best we could.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, buddy, I'm sorry to hear that, but you never know what Santa might bring you. This year for Christmas.
It's true. I don't know if he can bring me a fun racer though, because I don't think Multiplex makes it anymore.
There's other people who make similar style planes.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that existed.
That was a pylon style plane. So there's other pylon style planes that are out there, my friend.
Well, good. Then great. I'm in for some fun, some more fun.
There you go. So one of the things that I was wondering, when you got to the event in the morning, how was the turnout? How were people coming out, or was it more like? I remember when we went there in the morning, and that was pretty much only the club members were there in the first thing in the morning, and then things picked up. I want to say it was maybe around noonish, maybe because of the news show, and then it seemed like a influx of people came in. So how did it go?
And I'd say that was pretty much the same, setup that we had this time, which was. People started showing up in the morning. There wasn't a huge number of people early in the morning, but there was enough people flying and having a good time. And then, one of the things is I ran into that kid Joey, who we interviewed the last time.
Oh, right.
I saw him and his mom, and we chatted a little bit. I didn't interview him again, but we just chatted a little bit. And he, obviously grown up and now flying a lot better than he was.
Right.
We talked a little bit about that, and he seems to have a lock on that stuff. I didn't watch him fly to sort of check him out, but just.
Well, that's great to hear, because we met the young man, like you said, 2 years ago, right? So 2 years ago, and his mom was kind of unsure, what to do to maybe get him into this, and we pointed him to Doug and the club, and a couple of planes, and things to think about, and. I want to say he got like one of the little micro flyer Cubs. I think is what he got. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that we talked to him about it, because he could fly it at his house. You can come out to the club, So I think he went along that route. But it's great to hear 2 years later that he's fully into it.
Right, right.
That's great.
Well, I don't know if you remember too. We also interviewed Mr. Youngblood last time that I was there, and I saw him again. Now, he had his yak out there that he had gotten from the time before. So let's break away and go talk to him real quick.
Okay.
Hey, everyone, I'm here with John Youngblood. Some of you may remember we talked with him back 2 years ago and did an interview with him. And I ran into him today, and I thought, you know what, it'd be good to find out how he's been doing and what's going on. And so what's up? I think didn't you win something the last time we were here?
Oh yeah, it was the main raffle prize. It was the Yak 55.
Okay.
And I feel lucky today because last time I had number 47 and I won on that. And this year I got number 97.
Okay.
97.
All right.
Maybe 15 numbers in difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been doing good. It's been 2 years, and back then JCXC I think we had maybe 20, 30 people. And now we're capping at 60.
60. Wow.
We're gonna have to cap at 60 because
you're gonna cap it. No more people.
Well, because we're having a lot of them actually. Since I'm a retiree, they come out on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We have just as many people out on Tuesdays and Wednesdays as we do on Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, okay.
And that's like the retiree time. And I have a lot of students, a lot of retired students. They've made me like, so if I can teach anybody, I'm just like the chief instructor pilot at JCXC.
Okay, all right.
So when we have people coming out, like drones that want to fly airplanes, we have people that never flown before. I even had a 5-year-old, my neighbor, saw me unloading planes, came out to JCAC, brought her grandson, 5 years old. And I will tell you this much, after the first lesson, he was not looking at his sticks, he was looking at the plane, and he was flying that plane like he'd been flying it forever.
Dang, that's awesome.
And he never took his eyes off the airplane.
That's awesome.
So we're doing good. We actually have a fun fly coming up in October, and it's going to be Saturday the 2nd. And it's actually called Fall Back and Fly.
Fall Back and Fly.
Finally, it's fall, fly, and swap meet. So finally it's fall.
Finally it's fall.
We've been doing a lot of good things. We've been being recognized by AMA quite a few times. We've done a lot of things with the Kick Up and Go, and we had the improvement grant, field improvement grant, and we've done quite a lot of upgrades here and fixed the field up, make it look better.
So you're in a paved area? You guys?
It's not going to pave yet.
Still grass.
It's still grass, but
good.
It's really good.
Yeah. I like a good grass field, honestly.
It's okay. It's really great. Good shape. We have a lot of like I fly jet. I call it my Frankenstein F4 Phantom. They're building it for 2 years, a year and a half, and it's just giving me so much trouble. I call it Frankenstein. The pilot's name is Captain Frankenstein. So I flew
Frank N. Stein. I like it.
And the rear is called, if you know anything about a F4 Phantom, you need a rear, which is the wizard, the assistant officer. His name is Lieutenant Commander Ware, W-A-I-R, Wolf, W-O-L-F. So, and now since it's flown, I can put markings on it and get that going there, get that going. The biggest thing about JCAC that's really good is that we have an awesome bunch of people out there that come out to fly.
That's cool.
And all walks of life, and they just hear about us. A big help, actually a big push for us most times is Brian at Hangar 18 Hobbies. Because I live about a block away from him, 2 blocks away from Hangar 18.
Oh, that's bad.
And I give them cards all the time, and people come in, and I usually go over there if necessary and talk to pilots, and we get a lot of student pilots from there. And I don't know, for some reason, they go all over the place, but they somehow navigate to JCAC, and I think it's the environment and what we have going on there. And I can't put the finger on it. You can blame me for it if you want to. But whatever we're doing good because we're being recognized, and we have a lot of people coming out. And a lot of times when people come out, they say, "Oh yeah, I remember you from your website, JCAC," or "I remember who else was out there." But they see me because I'm out there
all the time, right?
Saturday, Sunday, sometimes I'm out there. But Tuesdays and Wednesdays is when we get a large crowd. We may have any time for the Tuesday or Wednesday. We may have 6 to 8 to 10 people out there.
Okay.
And on the weekends, they may have just as many. But the best thing I like about it is just to come out with it, you know? Yeah. And,
But I mean, for me, that's why you come out to fly. Really, I mean, I like flying. I like building planes, but really to hang out with people who have a similar interest and love to watch different skill sets and people flying. Like today, we're out here at the Holly Springs flying, and some really great pilots out here already.
Yeah, they've been doing some really good flying. I forgot his name with the F-22. Oh my God, that flat spin! and it was a true flat spin.
Yeah.
Watch it, but unlike Goose and Maverick, as they said, he pulled out.
Yeah, he pulled. Well, he had control of his motor. They had a flame out. So what do you do?
So the cool thing about it also, the thing about it is, people are not people, they're fellow pilots.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're the most skilled pilot here or you're just beginning. I can almost guarantee you, if anybody here walks up to one of these pilots and asks a question, they will not only get an answer, they will be talked to and helped out until that person is satisfied with that answer, and that person can walk away knowing, wow.
Yeah.
Check this out. He gave me his time, or he talked to me, or she talked to me, or they told me this, and this is what I wanted to know. I think I'm ready to pull the plug.
Right.
And I can guarantee you, with the timbers out here and the trainers out here, if somebody out here wanted to learn to fly or wanted to try it out, I can guarantee you they'll give me a plane, they'll take them and fly them on it.
Oh yeah. I believe you. It's a great group of guys. Thanks for taking the time to share your story.
I just want to tell you one more time about our fun fly.
Okay.
I can't, and I'm going to get it finally. JCAC, finally, it's fall. Fly-in and swap meet on October 2nd at our flying. And if you look on, you'll see the flyers and you'll see them pushed and everything else.
I like the swap meet part too, because that's, So is that before or after you crash the plane? I can't remember which.
I personally, I don't plan on crashing.
Yeah, that's good.
If somebody else does, that's fine. The flight doctors will be there.
Oh, good.
The flight doctors will do touch up the ground.
Yeah.
Skyhawks can do amazing things.
Yeah, they can.
And I really appreciate it. And let me talk to him. And
oh, sure, no problem at all. Yeah.
Later. And I think sometime if you guys listen, I think 12 o'clock-ish, I'll be flying that yak that I won 2 years ago.
Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing it.
Oh, yeah, and it flies good.
Good.
Appreciate that, sir.
Oh, yeah. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
All right, we're back. So once again, it's nice to catch up with people and just, hear what's going on with them and where they're at. And, that's fantastic. So,
yeah, it's really good too to hear that he was talking about how his club is growing and doing well. And he talked a little bit about that and what made him do, what he thought brought that to the club. And I feel like, what he had to share there was well worth listening to and hearing with regard to,
right.
Getting people to join your club and be a part of it, be a part of something like that.
Yeah. And like I said, it's like with Joey that you were talking about before, bringing the youth into it, is paramount because let's face it, we're, if you took the average age of all us, combined, we're around our clubs that we've been at, we're the young guys, like we're the newbies,
Right.
In our 50s, we're like the youngest guys there. So,
Well, the clubs here in Dallas, there's a lot more younger people here. But in your case, you only have a few people in your club, so...
Well, there's just, 2, so 3. So
right, exactly.
If you want to call it a club.
And so, yeah, but the clubs I've visited, there's a lot of younger people. And I think the sport's fairly active here. We were walking with some friends the other day and ran into a space that I think it was in Rowlett. This town has a field. Now, it was a nice field, grass runway, et cetera, in a park, nearby a lake and some other stuff too. But the challenge I had with it was you had to go through the city to go get get approval to fly in a place. They seem to put a lot of bureaucracy in place.
Right, and we talked about that before, right? We've had to deal
make
with that when
happen.
we were back up in Alaska.
Yeah, and so anyway, I just think it's really cool though that the city did put up the park to be able to allow it. So that's kind of cool that they got that going too. And I haven't really talked to anybody there. Nobody was flying the day that I walked by, but maybe sometime I'll go out there and there'll be somebody out there I can talk with and we can chat a little bit.
Okay.
And
right.
so they had food vendors there, and it was Portuguese. I don't remember the name of the vendor, but what I had was a Portuguese hot dog.
Okay.
And
okay, I've traveled all over the planet, and I've never heard of a Portuguese, hot dog.
Well,
so
basically, it's sort of a spicy sausage type of a hot dog kind of a thing.
Okay.
And
that sounds good.
And it was really good. The bread that it was on was really good. They did a great job of feeding us. But while I was in line, I ran into David Trogdon, the AVP District 4 guy from the AMA.
Yeah.
And so I stopped and talked to him a little bit. So let's break for that.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here talking with David Trogdon. He is the AVP of District 4, and I guess what I understood when we were talking earlier before,
these types of plays are called
that
ultra-micro plays. These are perfect for park flyers, confined spaces. Some of these are pretty high performance. You can tell they're a lot of fun to fly, so when you...
That you're taking Rick's position not his position, but just subbing for him.
Right.
I think we interviewed Rick 2 years ago when we were out here. We would have been out here last year, but nobody would let us, right? So we're out here. This is our second time being here. We love to be at this event. It's a great event. You can hear Doug going off in the background there, and he's a excited, very enthusiastic guy, you know, as the club presidents go, he's one of the top guys in my mind. I'm biased because we're friends, but at the same time, we only became friends after we met him. I was up here visiting my brother who lives nearby, and ended up in his field and just ran into them. And
good relationship.
Yeah, that's how stuff starts, right?
Right.
So you've been AVP for how long now?
Probably about 8 years now.
Okay. And so you just like, what the heck, I have time. I'll just do it.
I retired, and Jay Marshall, who is our vice president, said, you're retired now, so why don't you...
I'm going to volunteer you.
Yeah, that's what he said. You and Rick Cawley and take care of North Carolina.
Okay.
And so Rick kind of takes care of the areas, Piedmont and up, and I try to take care of the coastal areas, and do try to get. I've been to the mountains once or twice.
Let's give a big round of applause.
In fact, my wife and I were riding the train
at
Bryson City several years ago, and we saw these tables. She said, "Oh, look, that's a produce stand." I said, "No, those are flight tables." So the next day we came back and found the club and Etawa RC Club.
Etawa RC Club.
And so we stopped and visited and have stayed in touch with those guys. And they have their fill on Cherokee land up there. They pay $1 a year for their
That's
land.
nice.
They'll never be moved.
It's really nice. It's really nice to have that kind of relationship as you were pointing out earlier.
It's how and that's the thing about this hobby is you make friends for a lot of different reasons and under different circumstances.
Sure.
And so I think that's the great thing about it. And I told Jay, he said, well, you like to talk. I said, yeah, I take pictures some. He said, you'll do good to get out and talk to people and get some stories for the newspaper,
sure.
for the magazine.
So your job is basically to be an ambassador and then also get some articles possibly or pictures and stuff.
Absolutely, model aviation.
Great. Well, that's great. So how long ago did you start? Actually, I wasn't trying to ask that question. When you started, what were you working with? How about that?
Well, my dad started flying probably early RC in the early 60s. And so I would have been 6th grade, 7th grade. I was flying line control.
Me too, yeah.
And then he let me fly his radio control for a while. And then he got sick with cancer in 67 and passed away.
Oh, that sucks.
My senior year.
Okay.
So I flew for a year and then just quit. Didn't have any urge to fly.
Yeah.
And my son and I had a real good relationship. And then he turned 16 and got a car, and that was kind of a wedge there. My wife said, you need to find something else to do because he's got other things.
Because you're under my feet.
Yeah.
Get out the house.
So I got back in the hobby back in 94 and had to pretty much relearn flying.
Wow.
I had never flown an airplane and landed with a motor running.
How about that?
You know,
right, yeah, because it always gas out.
Yeah, you just ran it till it ran out. But it made me a better pilot.
Yeah, I suppose it did.
So, and I pretty much stayed with the smaller planes. I fly single channels, 2 channels, 3 channels, and 4 channels, and that's it. No 340 size or less.
So it's all gassers though.
Yeah, all nitro. Yeah.
So how come we didn't move into electric? But just never got a taste for it.
It's just it would have meant that I would have had to have bought different chargers and batteries.
True.
And the guys in the field say, well, if you do this, then you don't have to worry about cleaning all that mess up. Well, I think it's the smell. You know, the sound of the engine.
There's something to it, right? I mean, along with that smell comes all the memories of whatever flying you were doing. I know someday you'll probably be sparking up your engine and you'll have that one whiff of something that smells just like, I remember that day I was flying with X and so, and I totally get that, right? And that's really what matters. I mean, I was talking with Ryan earlier today, and we had the same conversation, which is about, it's about the community, it's about, meeting the people. Sure, flying's fun. Yeah, I like to fly fast, all that stuff, but in the end, it's about meeting people, making friends.
And it was the only thing that my dad and I actually ever shared.
Connected on.
He liked to fish, and he fished up until he saw this guy fly this airplane the first time, and then he started flying, and that was it for the fishing.
What'd your dad do?
He was a TV repairman.
Okay, perfect.
So that came in really handy in the early days because you had to build all of it.
Yeah, he did, and you had to understand the electronics of it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys would bring their stuff to him because, as you probably remember, that you just get your parts in a plastic bag.
That's right. Good old Zenith.
And all your kits were just printed. You had to cut all those out. And so, I wish that he could be here today for a lot of reasons, but I think the biggest thing is to see how advanced everything is.
What do you think he'd say?
I don't know. I think he'd be amazed. I remember he had one of the first TVs, color TVs.
Oh, wow.
And they would bring it to the shop in the afternoons. The first thing came on was Bonanza, 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
In color?
And people would come from the barbershop and the grocery store next door at 4 o'clock, and he would say, "Look how blue the sky and this water is." And that was the only thing that was on in color for a while.
Right.
So I think he would really get a kick out of
all the advancement. Yeah, I mean, just safe technology all by itself.
Yeah.
And the different gyros that are out there now, I mean, they can make them as small as they do. They're they're smaller than receivers from even 10 years ago, right? Which is crazy. And GPS units and all that stuff. It's crazy.
And the equipment was not real reliable then, and the guys had CB radios would bring your planes down in a heartbeat. And what we'd always tell people was we'd go out and fly on Sunday after church, and then on Wednesday afternoon, after you got off work, we'd go out and walk the woods. And, of course, a lot of them were in the trees. I was 12, 13 years old. One of the guys borrowed a set of tree climbers, and that was my job.
Go climb the trees.
Climb the tree and get the planes out. So
that's a great way to start.
So it was a good thing.
Do you have your gear? Because I put mine in the tree earlier today.
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
Damn. Okay. Damn it. I haven't found it yet either, so that's an additional block. But
so you're probably going to get the award today.
No, I don't think so, because they can't prove that it got crushed or smashed.
Oh, it has to be that.
I think so.
I think so. It just landed. It didn't come back.
I mean, if they do give me that, then it'll be the ghost crash award, right? Because there's no.
Because you said it.
Yeah, except for I can edit this out, so I don't need to. The only proof is somebody else saying it's. There's only one other guy that knows about it, and I can take care of him. But anyway, so that's cool. And were you a builder, or did you like the already ready to fly planes?
I have a Cadet Senior that I bought 14 years ago that was an ARF. Everything up to that point has been built.
Kit built. Yeah, and well, tell me about that. I mean, I think that's pretty much a lost art because it's too easy just to buy a plane and fly it. It's so much more fun, right?
Right.
But I'll tell you, after you crash it a couple times, and someone brings you a really cool design that isn't an ARF, and you're like, yeah, you know what? Stick building might be cool, or it could be a good time. I build foam planes, and so for me, just cutting designs out of other people's planes and putting them together and flying them, that's a lot of fun to me. And of course, I built gear to do that sort of thing too. I built a foam cutter.
Right.
And so all kinds of technology that I had to learn to go do all that stuff. So for me, it's not only just the planes, right? For me, technology, all the other things that you learn, engineering that you learn to do all that stuff kind of serves that.
The interesting thing I used to like to see when we go to a fly-in would be everybody was building about the same kind of things, but they were all covered and painted different.
Right.
Everybody might have been flying Tauruses,
right,
Lions,
right,
but they were all different.
Right.
And you go to the fields now, and most of the planes are pretty much the same.
The same, yeah. So because of that, my friend Mike, who's one of the other podcast hosts, he's a podcast host. He taught me how to use airbrush to airbrush my foam planes. That's fun stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I never would have thought I'd learn how to paint my own planes, or even want to.
Right.
But I've done a couple planes now. It was pretty fun to do my own design.
It's unique. It's yours.
Yeah, it's right. Well, and that's it, right? And when you build a stick plane, you never want to fly it the first time.
Yeah.
But after you fly it, you're like, okay, I can do this again.
There's a lot of guys in our club that fly 3D, and they buy them all ready built out of the box,
right?
And they all look the same.
Yeah.
And one guy told me the other day, he's an excellent 3D pilot. He said, I've never built an airplane. I don't know if I could or not. But
just start.
Yeah, just try it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever go back to where you have to take a knife and cut the parts out, the printed parts. I mean, if you ever had to do that or not.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's to me that wasn't so much fun because I always ended up. It's hard cutting those little 8-inch notches and ribs and things without breaking them all out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a lot simpler, but I enjoy it. And I've got an old tri-pacer. The first plane my dad ever had was a Sterling tri-pacer.
Okay.
Single channel. And somebody at work, worked at the yacht plant when I first moved down here in 04. And the guy had the plane. He said, "I've got something you may want." The guy at the yard said, "Oh, damn, I'll throw it away." It was a tri-pacer. The nose was all gone off on it. And so it was ugly. He'd sprayed everything silver, covered it with dark blue. It's blue and silver. Took it home, put it in my garage, and hung it up until the first of this year. And so I'm down to getting this chrome spinner to go on it.
Nice.
To finish it out, and it's beautiful.
That's cool.
I almost don't want to fly.
Yeah, right.
And I thought, well, that's the first plane my dad did.
Yeah.
It took him 6 weeks to do it.
Yeah.
So the building thing brings back a lot of.
I imagine. Yeah, from your past. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. So I don't know if you can really talk about it because I know it's an ongoing discussion, but do you have opinions, or can you share opinions about ADSB and all that stuff that they're looking at doing and all that kind of stuff? I'm going to call it nonsense because I think it is.
It is.
But at the same time, I can see some validity to it, just from a standpoint of what the concerns are. I don't think we're there yet, but they're trying to, on the upside, they're trying to lay the foundation. On the downside, they're not really listening, from what I can tell. Do you have any other thoughts about that, or?
I was in mobile home business for years, and drafting work, and I was in 72 when they decided they want to have third-party inspections to make houses safer. Well, once you get the government involved in something like that, they always go way overboard with over-regulating everything. And I think that is exactly
where we are now.
Yeah. I mean, we've been self-regulating. The AMA has for years and years and years. 39. And we can do our safety thing. And then to have them come in and tell us that you got to do this, can't do this.
Yeah.
I think it's over-regulated.
Yeah.
I do. I agree totally.
Yeah. Okay, well, I appreciate you taking your time to talk with me and share your opinions and stuff. It was really great to meet you. Hope to see you here next time.
I'd love to come back.
Yeah, great. Thanks a lot.
Very much.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Well, that was quite interesting,
Yes.
buddy.
Yeah. So one of the things that I was impressed. Well, one, this isn't the guy. He was filling in for the real guy. No, that was the other guy we interviewed last time we were there.
Last time, 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but it was interesting to hear him. I asked him the question, didn't think he was going to answer it, but he answered the question regarding, whether he thought it was a good or not good thing that the FAA is doing now with what we're doing. And, he had the same feeling I did. Look, the AMA has been doing a great job of training and keeping people in check for the most part with what they're doing. And the club sort of polices itself, et cetera, et cetera. And we don't really need all this
bureaucracy
nonsense that's
right.
going on. Yeah. And so it's really just surprising and refreshing to have him, go ahead and step out there and speak, probably for himself. I don't know if he got the AMA endorsement on that one, but either way.
But still, you can relate with him, and like I said, sometimes when you're just reading this stuff or you're watching a video and you're not getting a chance to meet your representatives, you may feel that they may not be doing things in our best interest, right? So it's good to hear a heartfelt, that they feel the same way you do, and they just want to fly and have fun, right?
Right, and as you pointed out in the conversation, he has come from a long line of doing this stuff and for a long time, and so to watch it be shackled by some of the rules that are going on. And again, Mike's got great points about airplanes and all the stuff that's going on, the commercialization of drones and stuff like that. In fact, maybe at some point we'll have an interview with a guy I talked to who's in the commercial aviation business, doing just this stuff.
Oh, really?
With a company called Aurora, and so maybe you'll have a chance to get him on and talk to him about what's going on in that industry and how things are laying out and what's happening, because I think it's interesting. We went into his facility, or not his facility, but a facility, and it's like they had all the parts to the plane that we were looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just sort of sitting onto the side in boxes and stuff. I was like, well, this is like a RC kit. He goes, yeah, kind of scaled up. Yep.
Kind of scaled up.
So it's kind of, and it was scaled up. It was pretty cool. We had some pretty cool photos, and so hopefully I'll be able to share some of those as well with what was going on with him. So, yeah. And so after we got our lunch and stuff, we had the lunchtime
noon show.
Yeah. And that was kind of fun. Now, I didn't, I'm not as good a reporter, I think, as I probably need to be. There's some work to do. So, I didn't get everybody's last name, and I didn't get all the stuff, but I did get a few. So, at the beginning of it, Jonathan Holmes was an awesome pilot and a really just all-around nice guy. I mean, really, there weren't any people who weren't nice, and if there were, I would call them out right now and probably have their picture and maybe a photo.
Have you seen this man?
If you see this man run away,
that's it.
Something like that. But Jonathan flew an F-22 by Freewing. It was a very nice plane, very nice watching him do it. He did something called a Cobra move. I kind of got it, but I wouldn't know how to do it. I had no idea, but I kind of get why it was Cobra move, because it sort of does a loop.
Originally, I think it was a Russian.
Flat out at the top.
Yeah, it was a Russian thing for Su-29s. It's not a real tactical. They make it out to it is one, but as far as I know, it's not really a real tactical move, but it's kind of cool to see.
There's a lot of G's being pulled.
Oh, yeah.
And if there's anything tactical, that would be it, is because you're going to knock someone out because they can't handle the G's or whatever.
Well, if you're being hijacked and they're in the plane with you, yeah, sure, I guess that might help. But
no. I mean, if you're in a dogfight with somebody else and they're trying to follow your moves, and you pull this high G maneuver, and they try to follow you with that high G maneuver, and that's
the thing. That's the Hollywood thing. If you were following a guy and he does that maneuver, if you're far enough away, you just pickle off a missile.
Just wait
and just shoot and have it shoot the guy, because he's going to stop. He stops in midair, as you're supposed to be right behind him, and you're supposed to fly right by.
Sure.
But anyway, neither here nor there. But hey, that's still cool to see that he's doing with the model. I can't do the maneuver, intentionally in a planer, so that's still cool.
If I do it, it's completely by accident.
Well, that's why I said intentional,
really?
right?
Wow.
I've done a lot of acrobatic things, but not all of them intentional.
Mine would be a crippled cobra.
Inverted. Anyway, so what else did you guys?
So then they had Steve Donnelly flew his gasser, and it's kind of interesting. What I really liked about this was the crowd noise.
What do you mean?
So during the noon show, there's probably, I think all told, about 200, 300 people, and of all the people that were there, the probably good 1/3 were children under 3.
Oh,
so,
really? Yeah.
Yeah. So you had 2 parents, 2 kids, and then smattering of more parents, right? Not just kids.
Yeah.
But there were a ton of little ones there in that. And like I say, it was close to 250 number of people that were there. And so what I was saying is when they were flying stuff, they would be like, "Oh, woo!"
That's awesome.
And the whole crowd would just sort of. And so crowd noise. There was some really good crowd noise, and they really liked the gasser. I think they liked it because he was doing some interesting maneuvers, and it's loud and goes by. When it goes by, it goes, makes all that noise.
Did he have a smoke system
and,
on it?
I don't think so. Not on that one. And the jet, the electric jet, Mike's jets they sound like jets.
Yeah.
The electric jet, it's kind of like, gotta be quiet. Everybody be quiet. And it comes by, and it's cool.
Right.
But, it's just not very loud. It's like, what was that? If you're not watching it, if you happen to be looking away. But that gasser, when he flies by, it's like if you're looking away, it's like your head's going to spin because this big old noise is coming by,
right?
Making, coming by. Anyway, so he was good. He did a good job. And let's see, what else? I just have some notes here I'm going through.
Did they have any races or anything like that?
Oh, well, we had, what do you call them when a gaggle? a couple gaggles.
Oh, okay, cool.
They had an Ultrix gaggle, which was kind of cool.
And
they
the
had,
Ultrix is that's a little trainer, right?
Yeah, it's like a Delta Wing. It's kind of frankly reminds me of the Radjet, only not as long of a nose.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very much like a Radjet from my perspective. They had a timber gaggle.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Which existed of 2 planes, unfortunately. You know,
I don't know if that's exactly a gaggle or a
well, you start with more in mind, call it a gaggle, and then you get 2 planes. It's a pair.
Well, they're just starting out, so we'll cut them some slack, right? Next year there'll be 3, then it'll be 8, and then 10. So, do you remember when we were up in Alaska with the Fun Cub?
Yeah.
Just 1 or 2 guys got some, and then within
and all of a sudden we had 8 or 10.
6 months. I mean, everybody had. I mean, we had tons and tons of.
It was a hell of a fun plane to fly, dude.
Yep. Sure was.
It still is. I mean, I still fly it.
It's
still a great time every time I fly it.
What I loved about it was that since there were so many Fun Cubs that were up there, everybody started, making theirs, individually, started doing up stuff for their Fun Cubs.
Yeah,
so
that was
kind of cool.
Though.
Oh, wait,
that wasn't me.
I know that wasn't
you. I didn't know how to do. That was prior to any acrylic brush.
That's true.
Airbrushing.
That's right. Because unfortunately, the Fun Jet was your biggest.
Yeah, it was my first.
Yeah.
Not my last though. My first.
Right.
My second one was that airliner that I painted. So that was kind of fun too. So then we had 2 helicopter dudes out there doing their stuff, and of course that everybody loves that stuff because those guys can do all kinds of crazy
Daniel
things.
And Steve, right?
Yeah, Daniel and Steve, exactly. This is where I failed on getting the last name part.
Oh, gotcha.
So yeah, and that was that pretty much ate up the whole noontime thing, and of course we did the raffles and whatnot. And
what'd you win?
I didn't win anything.
Are you serious?
I won a lighter plane carrier is what I won.
What? A what?
A lighter. My plane carrier was lighter because I crashed my plane.
Oh,
so
gotcha. I was like, you won a lighter plane carrier? I've never seen or heard of one of those.
It's called the golf club bag.
That's right. Okay, I gotcha. A lot lighter when I came back, so you definitely didn't pull any back muscles on the way back with that one.
That's correct.
Well, that's awesome. I remember that we got sponsored for one of the planes, and so we had. I know Mike sent out some T-shirts, right? We gave out for gifts, and then somebody won AeroVenture's 3D plane. So what did that look like? Do you know who won that?
I didn't get that written down. I think Doug has that info, and I forgot to get it to bring it with us. Thanks for asking the question, and me not having the answer. That's on me.
That's all right.
But
we would fire you and replace you with a younger, better-looking guy, but we don't.
Well,
know
the thing is, it wasn't me, and once it wasn't me, it's like I didn't care.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
But I think that the people were excited about getting it. I do remember that, and they're excited about what it could be. It wasn't, if I remember right, it was in a box or something, so they didn't take it out.
Oh, they didn't have it out so everybody could see it, or
no, it was in a box or something. In the back. So.
Oh, I kind of figured they'd have it out on display, so everybody could see it. So.
Nope, they didn't. Not that I saw. Anyway,
oh, okay.
I was, kind of wandering around, so I didn't really go looking for it. But when I registered, all the stuff that they had been given was sort of back behind the registration desk,
right.
And so it wasn't really. Yeah, quite frankly, there was a lot of stuff there, so I don't know if they really had the room for it.
So, was there anything there that you wanted to win? For you,
I wanted to win everything that was there, but I couldn't bring any of it home, so I didn't really want to win anything because there was nowhere.
I see your strategy, and therefore, by not wanting anything, then you would win the biggest, baddest thing that was there that would take up the most room.
You would have thought that would have worked for me, but it didn't work.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a crappy strategy, evidently. So, some guy came up to me, and I saw he had a plane in a box, and I was like, "Wow, that's a really nice plane." He goes, "You want to buy it?" I said, "Yes, I do." And he goes, "Really?" I said, "No, because I can't get it home." He's like, "Well, you just put it in your car." I was like, "Well, about that."
About that. There you go. See, saved by
car's
flying
more
in.
of a plane this time. Yeah.
That's right. There you go. Saved by
and
flying
of course, you can ship that stuff, but it ends up costing you more money. Than,
it takes all the fun out of it.
So it's not. It does, for me anyway. So other than that, I think that we had a really good time. I mean, that's.
Did Doug embarrass you and make you stand up there and give a speech or anything, or?
No speeches, but I did get to pull the ticket out for the grand prize winner, and so I called the number out.
Gotcha.
So I got that going for me.
Well, it would have looked bad had you pulled out and said, "That's my number."
I'm gonna put it on my resume. I'm gonna put it in my resume. Called the number out.
That's right. Official number caller.
Number caller
for third annual.
I'm going to stop short of calling it a
aviation
shot caller,
event.
So I'm not quite a shot caller.
Right.
So I'm going to stop short of that, but number caller.
Gotcha.
So if you were number 40, I got you.
Gotcha. Well, dude, I am a little envious because I think all I did was chores and work on a couple of projects. I was not having any fun in the sun, nor I didn't get to fly that week because it got so hot while you left that my partner Jim's, we were supposed to go flying, and he called me up and he's like, "Yeah, man, it's supposed to be over 100, 105 for the next several days. Why don't we take a rain check until the weather breaks?" So, I just kind of...
Well, it wasn't that where we were. It was in the 80s. It was actually fantastic.
Yeah.
The weather was the whole week. In fact, I didn't even think I was going to get the balloon ride. And before we kind of go down this road here, why don't we just get with Doug real quick and sort of wrap up the day?
Oh, yeah, sure.
So here we are. It's the end of the day, and wow, I think it went really well.
It did. We're still got some flying left to do for folks that are still hanging around, but
yeah,
we so taking last year off, we were unsure, what kind of attendance we were going to get today. The weather cooperated; it was perfect. Fall-like day.
It really was. It was beautiful.
And I think we had the largest crowd of public folks that came out. Our food truck completely sold out of food.
That's pretty cool.
And the line was so long, my wife waited 40 minutes to get me lunch.
40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Wow.
So we'll give the feedback to the event planners that we need to, have a food truck rodeo or something going on out here maybe. I don't know, next time.
Food truck rodeo, okay.
But we, I don't know what the totals are, but I think we raised a record for our sponsored charity.
Really?
I think so.
That's awesome.
Sure, yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
And I think we had around 50 registered pilots this time. So a little bit lighter on the pilot crowd than last time, but in terms of fun and just variety that was out here.
I think 50 is way more than I expected, to be honest with you, given the circumstances.
Yeah, we like to, say the bar is low and exceed it and then be surprised. But it's all good. Yeah, I'm exhausted.
I imagine you are. You were running around today.
Yeah.
I don't think you sat down all day, did you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so don't fall asleep while we're talking.
I'll try not to. Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, is there anything that stood out for you for this event today?
I just think the participation from the pilot side and also the public coming out, it's just overwhelming. It's really good, and folks that were here, it was bringing a tear to my eye to hear the story about the Meg Smile, the foundation, how that all started.
Yep.
That was just overwhelmed by the folks that came and had a good time.
Now, I don't know if it's just me, but if you looked at the crowd today, with regard to the number of children under 2 that were here, wouldn't you say there was a high count?
It looked like a high count.
Yeah. I mean, you got new pilots in the next 7 to 10 years here.
I know.
Yeah, right? So,
yeah, my wife was intermixed in with the public there, and so she was hearing a lot of good feedback on folks that were interested in. They didn't know our club existed. They didn't know this hobby existed. They were experiencing this. I saw a lot of smiles today, so that was a good thing.
Yeah, it was kind of. This is. I don't think I heard this last time when I was here. There was a lot of crowd reaction this time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that again might have been due to the younger crowd, and the under 2 crowd, but. There was a lot of crowd participation and clapping and the oohing and the awing and
that was impressive because I was not looking that way when some guys were doing some good flights at the noontime hour. But when I asked, hey, let's give it up for the pilot, and it was a pretty resounding cheer. I'm like, wow, we're at a stadium. Or something,
exactly. It's pretty good. I was pretty impressed with that. Well, from my perspective, even though I lost my plane, I'm probably going to talk about that a little bit more. But even though that happened, it was a really great day. I mean, you couldn't have had a better day, really.
Yeah, no, we really couldn't have. This is great.
Well,
I really appreciate you coming to our event.
Oh, no problem at all.
Mike,
I enjoy it.
Spreading the love of the Park Flyer podcast. Hopefully you picked up a few new listeners.
We'll see.
And it's great.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Nice talking with you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Okay, well, sounds like Doug was satisfied.
Yeah, like I said, the weather was fantastic. Not only on that day, but on every day after. I mean, I think we had rain for part of the day, but most of that was to wash the car.
Perfect. Those are perfect days. To blow the dust off the car. Yeah, nice.
We didn't think we were going to go balloon flying because the weather was supposed to be windy, whatever. And there wasn't going to be enough room for everybody, so it was just going to be, my dad and I, and Joel was going to get to go, and then just like bing, 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 people canceled, the wind went away, it was beautiful. I really liked the technical way that she decided that we were going to fly or not. We went to a local area right near an airport, and she filled up a helium balloon and let it go. And that was how they decided, okay, we're going to fly.
Really?
I was like, wow, okay.
Well, very scientific, I guess.
That could work.
There you go.
Yeah. But, you watch which way it's flying to see where you're going to end up, to decide where you start from, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. There's a bit of one of the things I did learn about since I was in New Mexico, in Santa Fe, one of the great things, or Albuquerque, I should say, one of the great things that they learned about, they always have balloon festivals out there. And I just thought, they have balloon festivals out there because they kind of pushed having balloon festivals and it became their thing. But that's not the case. It's because the winds do a perfect little box pattern. So it means that if you go to a certain altitude, the winds are always going east-west. And if you drop in altitude, the winds are going west-east. So you could, rise up, go to, 4,000 feet, fly, 5 miles, and then if you want to come back, you just descend 2,000 feet, and you fly right back to where you came from. And it's like, it's one of those it's one of those rare places that does that all the time. So.
That's FYI cool, right?
So
the cool thing is that when we went up, it was such a beautiful day and the winds were just right. She flew over these mountains that they never do.
That's cool, dude.
She was telling us all these things. We never fly for this long. We never fly this direction. I've only landed over here twice in the entire time I've done this, in the 20 years I've been doing this. All these kind of things. It's like it was super fantastic, and we landed in this near this horse farm, and the people came out and they were tremendously nice, and it really was just the best thing ever. Really, we had such a great time.
Well, that's awesome, dude. I'm so happy that you had a great vacation. I wish I would have came out to the event.
Yeah, would have been nice to have you.
Not to shoehorn into your actual vacation part. Been up in the balloon with you.
We would have left you on the side of the road as fast as you could have blinked.
That's thanks. That's always nice. Man, it sounds
that's
like
my best friend back there, Jay.
Back there. He's taking pictures. He's taking pictures.
He's running after us. I don't think he'll catch us, but he's
right.
running
He's
going
to be watching the car. No, dude, it sounds like you had a great time. I'm glad that we were able. You were able to fit it in and get to go to the event and bring it back for us and our listeners. And it sounds like a great time. And hopefully, like I said, it sounds like Doug's getting this, zoned in. And like you said, now it's not all janky, I think was the technical term you used, or feeling it was jankety. Janky. For the electric festival that we have out in Arizona, I think they said the same thing when they first started. That they felt that things were jankety, and the more you do it, then you find out who does what best for organizing things, and they get better at it every year, and it gets easier and easier. So I have a feeling being Doug, being the person.
I don't know if Doug wants me to call him out on this or not, but I'm gonna say this. And one of the things he said, if I actually let people do stuff, they would really be awesome. And basically what he was implying is that you know, he I think the story he told me, that it was sort of a quick story. He goes, yeah, I got here and it was like, why isn't this done? And then he realized he hadn't told anybody to do it.
Right.
So because he didn't do it.
Right.
And that's what he was talking about. So, you know, he had all these ideas and plans and stuff like that, but they were only in his head.
Yep.
And so, you know, given that's the case, it still was awesome because people really pulled off putting it together, being where they're supposed to be, putting stuff up, setting it all up, doing whatever. It really turned out nice. The food, like I said, the food was great. You know, it was just fun. We had a good time.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like we'll have you to improve on your reporting skills next year. It sounds like this may become an annual thing if you're having such a great vacation like this every time.
I'm not promising anything about that. don't be making any.
Hey, I was just happy that you were able to kind of pull this off, and you know, all on your own. So I'm appreciative.
One thing I'm going to do is get some more. Get some cable for my recorder. You know, I think it's kind of cool to have the live sounds around us as we're going on, but I also know that it sounds way better when we have the headphones and stuff.
Right.
And I was just using a little, handheld.
Dude, listen, man, however you did it, it worked, and you know, I'm appreciative, and I'm sure our listeners are too. And you know, thanks a lot for going out there and, you know,
sure. I'd love to get some feedback from our listeners about, you know, what they would have liked to have heard more of while I was there, etc. You know, just it's good to get feedback about that, even if something they didn't like. You know, Mike should have talked less or whatever. All that, you know, that's a given, obviously. But you know, maybe you should. You know, I'd like someone to speak up about that one way or the other. But anyway,
either give us a call, send us right to our website or email as well, and you know, give us a comeback or feedback, and let us know, folks. We're here for you. So
yeah.
Other than that, any other flying, any other things that on your mind before we wrap up?
No, pretty much just fly. You know, I got back on the weekend, and there was some reasonable weather. It wasn't fantastic weather, but reasonable weather. So I went took my paramotor up and went flying. You know, I was jonesing at being gone a week, not flying. They flew all week long while I was gone.
Of course they did.
And I was like, yeah,
it was the best week ever. You should have been.
And they were like, dude, where were you? I was like, I was on vacation. Yeah, well, too bad for you.
Everybody took a week off, and the weather was perfect the whole day. Not an ounce of wind, or just 5 miles an hour of wind. You know?
Yeah.
I
southwesterly toward the water.
Yeah, towards the water and the rainbows.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. All right. Well, I guess we should wrap it up for the week, and hopefully Mike will be back here in another 2 weeks. I think he's all trained out and all flown out for the rest of the month. So
good.
Starting in, I guess it'll be October, he should be back. So
great.
In the meantime, I guess everybody should get out there and fly. So for the Parkfire Podcast, I'm Jay.
And I'm AK Mike.
All right. And what do we usually say?
Let's fly.
There you go.
You have been listening to the Park Flyer Podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to your next visit. Please give our show a star rating and review, and feel free to email us your questions, topics, or suggestions to parkflyerpodcast@gmail.com.